Hi, everyone.
Hiya. We're back.
We're back. Oh, my goodness.
It's been 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
It seems like it's been a year.
Seems like a long time.
It does.
Good to see you both. It's good to see everyone in the chat. Hello.
And yeah, we're going to get back into the swing of things, though. I'm sure we'll just we've been doing it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, bear with us because, technical things always seem to like to follow me around. I don't know.
Yeah, this show we have to do homework and prepare.
Yes. It is a preparing thing. Putting things together and pictures and kind of listening in to see where Spirit wants to take us and invite who to invite in, and it's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel so blessed and just magical and very lucky to hang out with these two wonderful ladies every Monday night to do this. So
thank you. Likewise.
Amen.
I missed you guys. I missed everybody in our Monday night. Monday nights are just, it's such a great way to start off the week, getting inspired and getting, a little history lesson, a little smarter and a little, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really nice to be back.
Hi, Craig. So, we might as well just get started, and I can't wait to meet some of these ladies. And I think I'm first tonight, so I'm going to just go ahead and throw up the banner. The person I picked is Anita Roddick, and let's learn all about her. I'm going to pull over another thing. All right, here we go. So I'm thinking that this might not be a name that is just like, oh, I know Anita Roddick. So Anita Roddick was born October 23rd, 1942, and passed September 10th, 2007. She was a British businesswoman. She was a human rights activist and an environmental campaigner, best known as the founder of the British version of The Body Shop. So if you guys are familiar with that, so now The Body Shop is international and an international limited. It's like a cosmetics company, but also like the ethnical cosmetic stuff. So all I guess she's known for that it's all natural and all that. So so her natural beauty products shape the ethical consumerism. So Anita, founder of The Body Shop and Britain's leading female entrepreneur in regards to the cruelty-free cosmetics and environmentally sensitive packaging, helped change the worldwide skincare industry. So in 2007, she died of a brain hemorrhage, and in Sussex, England. But let's learn about her. Ms. Roddick announced in February that in February of 2007, she had announced that she had cirrhosis of the liver caused by hepatitis C. She acquired this during a blood transfusion 36 years prior when she was giving birth to her youngest daughter.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She didn't find out about the infection until just a couple of years or so. And she found out about it in 2005. And she says, and I quote, "At first I wasn't worried that worried. After all, I had had the disease apparently for 35 years without even knowing it. But then last year, the Hep C turned into cirrhosis of the liver. And I have realized I might not have that much time left, and I want to make the most of it, she told Newsweek in June of that year. So dramatic and energetic. She was dramatic. She was very energetic. And I also heard firsthand by a friend of hers who told me about her personally and who recommended her for tonight. The 5'2" Ms. Roddick described herself as a flower child of the 1960s who launched the company in 1976 to support herself and her two children. Her nature-based cosmetics such, how about you guys want to see her pictures?
Yeah.
Okay, there she is all that time. See? Okay, let me go back to this. I have to find this again. Okay. All right, so y'all can see her now, right?
Yep.
All right, so she was a very energetic, 5'2". And okay, so she launched this company in 1976 to support herself and her two children. So her nature-based cosmetics such as pineapple facial wash, jojoba moisture cream, and elderflower eye gel came out just as the environmental movement took off. So she was right on the first floor of all that. The Body Shop promotion of recycling and its use of suppliers among indigenous people in the developing countries made the British company a phenomenon, growing from a single store to more than 2,100 stores in 55 countries within 30 years. So the company was purchased in 2006 by L'Oreal of France for $1.2 billion.
Wow.
So Ms. Roddick, the public face of the firm, devoted significant hours to globalization, protest, rainforest preservation, marches, and take a daughter to work days. The anti-corporate crusader, who once famously said, "I hate the beauty industry. It is a monster selling unattainable dreams. It lies, it cheats, it exploits women," became a favorite of the singers Sting and Prince Diana. Queen Elizabeth II made her a Dame Commander of the British Empire in 2003. So I came out of the womb as an activist, she says. I am part of the 1960s. It is in my DNA. So the idea of dying with loads of money doesn't appeal to me at all. I want to use the last years I have to get my hands dirty working for civil change. I want to be able to see the positive difference that money can make by giving away what I have. So so her daughter, no, not her daughter. So Anita Perella, the daughter of Italian immigrants in the seaside of Littlehampton, England, was attracted to activism after reading a book about the Holocaust. Oh, this is her. Sorry. It's been a long day, you guys. So she was Italian. She was the daughter of an Italian immigrants that lived in Littlehampton in England. So after reading a book about the Holocaust, she became an activist. She graduated from Bath College of Education in 1962, taught school briefly, then spent a year in Paris clipping newspapers for the International Herald Tribune. She spent another year in Geneva working for the United Nations, then hit the hippie trail. She sailed to Tahiti, New Hebrides, New Caledonia, and Australia, ending up in Johannesburg, by the way of Madagascar and the Marine. I can't say all these things, but anyway, running afoul of apartheid laws by going to a jazz club on Black Night. She was deported by the South, so she got herself in trouble, and was deported by the South African police. Going a little afoul there. Back in England, she met and married a Scotsman, Gordon Roddick, and with him opened a restaurant and a small hotel. Within a few years, the restaurant closed, and her husband took off on an epic horseback journey from Buenos Aires to New York with her blessing. Then she was 33 years old. Roddick borrowed $8,000 from the bank using the hotel as collateral, and contacted a herbalist and found in the Yellow Pages to help her with the unusual list of ingredients. She painted the walls and the shelves of this backstreet Brighton store, emerald green, and started with 15 products in small plain bottles. If customers brought in their own container to refill, all the better. The business took off, and within 6 months, she opened a second store. Her husband, whose horse fell down a ravine in the Andes halfway through his trip, returned and took over the financial end of the business. Uh-oh. From the start of the social cause of masquerading as a highly successful business, franchisees had to agree to support some local community and environmental projects and products. It could not be tested on animals, and such nonprofit groups as Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth were strongly encouraged to customers. So body shop trucks sported slogans including, and this was her favorite, "If you think you're too small to have an impact, try going to bed with a mosquito." So she continues to grow, and then she eventually she started the trend of natural cosmetics because of the response of the buyers, the consumers, and that became a $16 billion U.S. cosmetic part of that market. So she did sell to L'Oreal, and but she's really, even though that was something that she did, she was very, very environmentally conscious and bringing work to. She was an activist of. I feel like it was very similar to where you go into communities and you help them grow the product in their community, like bring the water, do all that and start doing that kind of thing. She did that as well. She wasn't afraid to get her hands dirty and get right in there. She wrote the books that she has include Business as Usual, My Entrepreneur Journey, Take It Personally, How to Make Conscious Choices to Change the World, and Body and Soul, Profits with Principles, the amazing success story of Anita Roddick and the Body Shop. So some of her quotes here: "I have a deep sense that to accumulate wealth is obscene. And when the community gives you your wealth, I have a strong belief that you give it back." One of her returns was a donation of $1.8 million to Amnesty International for a School of Activism. and the organization's new Human Rights Action Center in London. So that is Anita Roddick. Just amazing human, and no nonsense type of, and very, from what I remember, very like a force. She was just a force.
Yeah, I wish every CEO adopted her, you know,
Amen.
yeah, the view she had of accumulating wealth and
Yeah.
you know, giving back to the community and giving back to, giving back.
Instead of stealing it like some
Or just accumulating more for the sake of it. It's
right.
You know, when there are so many that have so little.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you know, sure, her first store was, I think it was open on Telegraph Street in Brighton, or
Mm-hmm.
Avenue in Brighton. That's where Cassie lives. Cassie lives in Brighton. So
Oh.
she's a big deal in Brighton, but then they still have the body shop there, but it's on a different street. But she is revered in Brighton. You know, everybody loves her and talks about the body shop as being just kind of a business that put that, you know, their city on the map as far as, you know, business. People having successful businesses, and she was very well known in Brighton. So it's funny though, because at least the picture that I'm getting of her is, I think of Snow White, because she's in kind of a what looks like a forest, but surrounded by animals. So she must have been a real. I want to say that she was so in tune and understood so much what Mother Earth needed, whether it was helping people or helping animals or helping ecology. You know, social advocacy, all of it. That it's almost as if Mother Earth or Mother Nature's loving her back right now, because I feel like she's in such a happy place, and I think she has so much to be happy with in the way that she conducted her life. You know, it does feel like she did all that she possibly could think of to do, especially with the when your death is lingering over your head like that, when you kind of know you have limited time, how she would still remain so unselfish, totally giving, giving back. And it does just feel like Mother Earth or Mother Nature's kind of just loving her back right now. She's completely I just think of love. I think she was just such a loving heart. And she was here.
And you know, going right alongside that, even though she was in this realm of wealth, and you know, she was Queen Elizabeth, you know, she ran in the high circles, right? You or I could just go, you know, if you would not know, she would not put that air on. You know, she treated everyone like, oh, you know, yeah, you know, like she was not pretentious. Is that the word?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think Mother Nature's loving her a lot because she did products that were not tested on animals, you know, good ingredients, good packaging. So everything she did, and then to had purpose to make the earth a better place, whether physically or the people on it. I mean, that should get high rewards, and not just in this life. You know, the 1.6 billion, that's great. But as she said, that's not what she was here for.
Right.
And the fact that when she got that news about her illness, a lot of people would get that kind of news and just shut down. right?
Mhm.
And fair enough, it's big news. But she, if we look at her, she took that news and she almost got stronger. Because I mean, that you have to have a lot of strength to take that news and keep saying, I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to spend the rest of my time fighting, lecturing, going to rallies, whatever it was, to make the world a better place. So she's a superhero.
Mhm.
And she's really lovely energy. Very
She's a spitfire is what she is.
great.
And lovely and very lovely energy. Yeah. She's showing me a megaphone, and yeah, she's showing me a megaphone, and then she's showing me a mic. She wants it loud, guys. She as far as getting out there and shouting what needs to be shouted. Like, we can't stop shouting it out. We need to get out there and keep our voices loud. I mean, the megaphone in front of the mic. You know what I'm saying? That is like, find any avenue that you need in your realm to bring awareness to environmental awareness, as well as women's rights, as well as human rights, as well as all the challenged, all those who are being challenged. If you have a voice, that you need to stand up for them, is what she's saying. Speak for those who don't have a voice, and find any way in which to do it, even if it's just, she's showing me like Facebook, you know what I mean? Even if it's in your little thing, keep shouting out truth and fight for equality and awareness. She brings back the awareness to the earth. Well, she just said, even an awareness of the inequality, because some people don't even though all this is, they still don't see that that there is not equality. So awareness as well with there. She said, no time to sit down. It's no time to sit down.
She's a total pioneer. Those really early days for cosmetic industry or any industry to go natural kind of ingredients and not testing on animals, so, and not destroying. So you don't want to create a product that destroys an environment, whether it's in your country or somewhere else, right? Plus, she didn't want to create a product that was going to hurt animals, like animal testing, right? A lot of cosmetic companies at the time were testing on animals, which is just a horrible.
Right.
Which is, and thank you, Anita, for doing. I'm just saying thank you to her, because until the product came out and said not tested on animals, I'm like, what
do you
They're
mean?
testing on animals?
Yeah.
What do you mean they test on? I didn't even know until the product came out and said not tested on animals. So thank you, Anita. Oh my gosh, she was aware. So that's another thing coming in with this. Another message she's bringing in here is become aware. Don't stay in ignorance. Just because you don't know doesn't mean you're not responsible for what's going on.
She's saying, it's funny because I saw somebody in the chat, I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was just saying that, talking about her creativity, and she just said that her she really had to use her creative instincts to do what she wanted to do, how she wanted to do it, in an industry that she's saying was very, very so competitive, but also it was very expensive to make stuff. And then the way she wanted to do it was going to be even more expensive. And so it really took all of her creativity to figure out how to do this, how to make it marketable. It was really it really was like the birth of a child. It was like every single ounce of herself went into this and figuring it out. And there were times, she's saying there were times I would think, how could this possibly come to fruition, because it's so difficult. Mm-hmm. But she's letting us know, when you have something that you really, really believe in and that you think will bring something positive into this world, do not give up. Keep pushing and keep asking for help, and because she's saying, I did not do it alone. I had lots of people that helped me and supported me and helped me figure things out. So find people that will help you. Keep going. Don't give it up. If you really believe in it, the world needs it. It's telling you something. When you feel that deeply about something, that's telling you something, that the world needs this, whatever it is that you're doing. So keep with it. Because she's saying it wasn't like it was boom, boom, boom. It took a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of people, a lot of belief, a lot of, all of these things. So
just being thrilled with making one product that she liked. Then she made enough to fill a store, and she was thrilled with that. And then fast forward, stores are all over the world. She made $1 billion company on an idea that was based out of love for humans and the earth, animals. How could that not pay off?
Exactly.
And she pushed and she did it.
And then she shared the profits. Yeah. I mean, she made it she made this business that was so good for everyone. And then even the profits, she shared that as well. I mean, such a good example for people in her position today.
Yeah. So she's bringing in a message for her friend that's here in the chat. And she's saying, don't get comfortable. Get yourself out of your comfort zone. And I just kind of, give Googled, and I'm like, I'll tell her that, don't stay in your comfort zone. Always push yourself out of that comfort zone. And then she's like, in fact, that's a message for all you. Like, it's a message for all y'all. Of course, she didn't say all y'all, because she doesn't talk like that. But it's a message for all of us that get out of our comfort zone. We don't need to be comfortable. As far as our narrative is, we just want to be in our safe little bubble and only do, we can do this. She's like, nope, you all need to get out of your comfort zone. If you want something done, get uncomfortable.
I'm feeling fired up.
Yep. That's her
Amazing.
activism. We got to get uncomfortable to bring in change.
And I bet she was met with a lot of mockery, because at the time there wasn't a lot of attention to products made in a healthy way, not hurting things. So I bet there was mockery from other companies, or if she took her idea there first to other people. But I love that she did it herself, and she got someone off the yellow pages or whatever. She found someone to help her, because I feel like she must have had some kind of download if she already knew the herbs and stuff she was talking about.
Yeah, that's
I'm kind of feeling there's a download there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
There's lots of green around her for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She came in for you like that. The green.
Tons of green. Yeah. Grass and trees and just green all around her. So I don't, for me, green always means like, nature, basically, but yeah, for some reason, lots and lots of green around her. The color green.
The color green. I'm asking her about that.
Well, that's the color of her store, is green. She did choose that.
Yeah, that's right. Her.
Okay.
Like
So yeah, this has been. Yeah, Tony Stokes says green equals nature. That's what I think of when I think of green.
And abundance, it's healing.
Yeah.
Healing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a heart chakra.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's like, you ladies got this. keep that megaphone in front of your microphone. You got this.
Yeah.
And she wasn't, how old was she? 30, in her 30s when she did the store? Created the body shop?
30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 33 was?
Yeah. So that's, you know, it's never too late. Not that 33 is old or young either way, but you don't have to birth the idea at the age of 22. It might be at 33. It might be at 53. It could be at 83. Just do it. Push yourself. Right? That's what you're saying. That's what she's saying. Push yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Get uncomfortable. Her words. Get uncomfortable. Well, thank you, Anita. Wow.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Powerful. And thank you for opening some doors for us to make it a little easier and to step into awareness. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great pick.
Yeah.
Great pick.
Awesome. All right. So we have, I think this is you, Andrea.
I think so. So I can see a couple similarities between these two women, being the plants and being the pioneers. So my pick is Isobel Hutchinson. And who is this woman, you ask? Well, she is a Scottish Arctic traveler, a filmmaker, and a botanist. She was born on May 30th, 1889. And I just love her story. It makes me want to get up and just go see the whole world. So Isobel was born in a castle. So how do you like that to start things out with, darling?
Wow.
But it's interesting to see a woman born in a castle and what she does with her life. I love this story. So she was born at Carlory Castle in England, West Lothian, and she was the third of 5 children. Unfortunately, her father died when she was 10 years old, but they were quite well off, and he left equal provisions for all his kids in trust. And as a result, she was financially independent through her life. So that's not a bad start, except for you don't want the money that way, but that's the way she got it.
Mm-hmm.
Her grandfather, Thomas Hutchinson, was also extremely wealthy, well off. He was in the wine wholesale trading, and his wealth enabled him to spend a great deal of time with Isobel, because with the father gone, he was able to come and spend time with the kids. And he taught her a lot about botany and gardening. So they had that time together, and it really resonated with her, as you will see. She also received a private education from a governess, and she was very physically active, playing all kinds of tennis and archery, skating, hiking, cycling, Scottish country dancing, and walking. Her physicalness will come into play as well as we go along. From 1900, she attended a school in Edinburgh where she studied curriculum suited for a Victorian gentlewoman. So raised in a castle, was taught how to be a Victorian gentlewoman. All of this will not come into play in her future. And it's funny, after her sister got married, he married a naval officer, and her sister didn't get to see her husband very often. And she thought this seemed odd. She decided at that time that marriage would restrict her life. So watching the relationship with her sister, older sister, she's like, you know what? I don't think marriage is for me. So a big decision to be making in the early 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
She also confessed to wanting to be a poet and started writing while she was young. She began keeping a diary as early as 1899 and continued to do so for most of her life. As a polyglot, I don't know what that means. By the time she was an adult, she could speak Italian, Gaelic, Greek, Hebrew, Danish, Icelandic, Greenlandic, and some Inuit.
Okay, so I can barely speak English.
Right? I can barely read her bio, let alone. So a polyglot must be someone who could speak a lot of languages, maybe. I don't know. So.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Yep.
Okay. And in her early
polyglot speaks many languages. Yep.
Okay. In her early years, she would go for long walks, and not just a little bit, 8 miles, 20 miles, 30 miles, eventually getting up to 100 miles. She did not like to ride in the family motor car. She preferred to walk through the countryside, through the villages. This will come into play.
Wow.
It's amazing, this young lady. Unfortunately, her youngest brother died in 1912 at the age of 16 in a climbing accident, and this had a profound effect on her as they were very close, and she stopped writing in her diary for a time. And her other brother, Walter, was killed in the First World War. So not an easy life. You know, you might be born in a castle, but that doesn't mean it's all spectacular. From 1917 to 1918, she studied business training and marketing, as well as religion and language. During 1918, things were pretty bad. There was little food for animals. All the men were gone to war. Influenza swept through the college she was at, and quite a few students had passed away from it. She was lucky enough to survive that, and she continued her studies, making lifelong friends. But she commented that she felt a little awkward when friends would talk about their interest in boys and men. She wrote in her diary, "I feel as if I belong to neither sex, a sort of onlooker." So that's interesting for her to have that in that early time, to feel not really attracted to anybody, not belonging to either sex, a sort of gender neutral. So again, with the war, things were quite stressful. She was still in school. In the fall of 1919, she was living in a women's hostel and taking classes in religious studies. But after 6 months, she suffered a mental breakdown in 1920. So again, a lot of her family members had passed. There was a war, a lot of stress. In 1924, she was invited to join a well-off Edinburgh acquaintance on a tour of Spain, Morocco, Egypt, and Israel, arranged by Thomas Cook. So with that, she got the travel bug when she was able to go and visit all these interesting places. However, this is also funny. She found that her female companion on the trip was rather overprotective, causing her to resolve to travel alone for the rest of her life. So she used to go on anybody hampering her style. It's really cool. So, deciding maybe marriage isn't for me. Maybe I'm going to travel on my own. Big decisions to make in the early 1900s. So she went back to Scotland and spent some time walking on Barra, north and south. I can't pronounce these Scottish places, so I won't even try. But it was a 150-mile trek. And she wrote an article for the National Geographic magazine and received $250 for that, which was her first article for National Geographic. With that, she paid for part of her trip to Iceland. So she began this is the part where she begins this amazing journey. As a botanist, she was able to travel to all these different countries to retrieve plants and flowers. That was her study, right? And she was able to travel alone because of that. So there was less drama. You know, if a woman at that time was going to try to go and sightsee and stuff, there would be, you know, she has to have a chaperone or blah, 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 blah. She can't do it. But she had this license to travel, let's say. So she went to Iceland, she went to Greenland, she went to Alaska, the Aleutian Islands. She went to Japan, China, Moscow, Poland, Berlin, Estonia, Denmark. I mean, she went everywhere. But her first travels were sort of in the Arctic region. So very cold, very isolated on these boats, often minus 40 degrees, whether she was on the boat or on land. And she loved it. She loved it. And this is unheard of at the time for a woman to be doing this. And because of all the walking she did, she was very fit and loved to walk and trek through these places where she would go through the Inuit areas, or you can see there in the picture. So she would meet their tribes, take photographs of them, learn about their plants. So she not only was learning about the plants and flowers, but she was learning about the people and documenting it at the same time. And then writing articles for National Geographic. Her poetry, her books, all her documents of her travels were all dedicated and donated to various schools after her passing. So it's all preserved, which is wonderful. So yeah, things like and the plants she collected at the Royal Botanical Gardens in Edinburgh, the British Museum, all of this stuff. So she really was one of the first people to go and document all this stuff in these faraway regions. And certainly that Arctic region would be horrible to travel in, but she loved it. She was honored with many degrees, obviously, and someone quoted that she had an indomitable spirit which defies hazard, danger, and discomfort, and is the source of all great human achievement. So there you go, pushing past the comfort zone. Exactly. Willing to go to these wild places, these unknown places, remote places, I should say. I'm so excited about her traveling. I just wish I could do what she was doing, right? It's so cool. So she kept making travels, and then eventually they would get shorter journeys through her life as she got older. Eventually she got arthritis, which made it was debilitating to her, so she couldn't really do any more travels. But that was much later. She lived to be 92, which is wonderful, and a full life. Although she's less well known than many of her male contemporaries within the fields of exploration and botany, her achievements are nonetheless extraordinary. She explored widely and largely independently at a time when women were not expected to venture beyond the domestic home. And when their achievements were often dismissed or minimized. So she broke through a lot of barriers with what she did. She gave over 500 lectures in the course of her life.
Wow.
Said all of her works are within museums, etc. Her papers, her films, her photography are all at the National Library of Scotland. Artifacts she had, etc. So it's wonderful. And her life is documented also at the Carlowry Castle where she grew up. So it's turned in sort of a little homage to her there.
Oh.
And she wrote 6 books of poems, 7 books on her travels, and 12 articles for National Geographic magazine. Isobel Hutchinson.
Yay.
Wow.
What an explorer. What a life.
What an incredible woman.
Amazing.
So pushing through all of those boundaries, a woman traveling alone, a woman who studied, unmarried, in these, it could get up to minus 40 or down to minus 40, I should say.
Holly's asking what was the year she died?
1982.
82. Wow.
Age of 92.
Wow.
Long time.
She she pushed that. She pushed the ends of that, didn't she?
And think of what she saw in her lifetime from
The amount of change that she saw in her lifetime.
Ian says, well, she was a Scot. Exactly.
That's true. And
and
you think it's cold in the Arctic, go to Scotland. Go to Scotland.
But to want to do that is so amazing. And to go to these small, sort of uncharted, not completely uncharted, but remote, when she got to Iceland, she wanted to walk around the whole thing of Iceland, and they said, no, you can't do that. Finally, one guide gave her a map and let her walk around Iceland, like all of Iceland, and she kept getting lost, but she would meet the villagers, and I think she had a very charming personality, because they would bring her in and they would tell her stories of their lives.
Here's this woman wandering around and
walking around Iceland. And she learned all those languages too.
Very intelligent, obviously. But when I step into, the first thing I'm seeing is just like this just incredible, thoughtful, and full of thoughts, very intelligent energy here. I was asking her while you were telling her story, how did you empower yourself to make a decision? Because in those times, like we know, you get married, it's all mapped out for you. How were you able to step into your own empowerment and make that choice in a time that no one ever really did that? And she said, I loved myself. And she said, and that's what I want to tell everyone. One of my messages tonight to you all is loving yourself. There's so many levels to that. There's layers to that. Where are you not loving yourself? Where are you handing over something else or someone else the reins in regards to your life? And I said, how did you get there? And she said, I was not going to be owned. And no one was going to own me. And she linked it back to a past life she had been a slave in of some, I don't know, but not that she was conscious of that in this lifetime but it absolutely was playing out. She can tell me that now, and so she can say, yeah, it was playing out in that life then, and why she was so focused on, I am not going to be owned like that. And it was she was hyper aware of anybody trying to do that to her. And I'm assuming when you said something about that person taking over or doing it some way and not, when they were traveling together, she's like, oh, I'm on my own because I'm not going to. So it was a little overboard on that, but it was good for her, but that was just something she was linking forward on that. But love yourself was very strong, and kind of look to those areas in your own lives to where you might be handing over the reins to someone else.
I feel also her being a woman, and obviously just her personality, she probably learned a lot more than maybe a man in a similar role. If a man walked into these villages looking for flowers, maybe not greeted with the way she was, because she wouldn't have been threatening in any way.
Right.
Oh, who's this woman? I don't, they're not afraid of her. How can I help her? Let's go talk to her, even if we don't speak the same language. You know what else I was thinking about? Ladies. Once a month.
Oh, that came in.
That's right. How did she do this?
Yeah,
on a barge by herself, or out in the middle of the Arctic
not easy. Because she brought that in over here. That's so interesting that you tapped into that too.
That's what I was thinking. Like, think about, you know what? Here you can just be at home and be like, oh my God, I can't do anything, right? Cramps, what have you. And she's out there in the middle of the ocean or out in the middle of Iceland.
I always think that with like every time I watch something from like the 1800s, 1700s, I'm like, oh my gosh, can you imagine having your period during that time?
I know, right? I know.
That's always my thought.
What a mess. Everything would have been so hard.
So, and I love, this is why I love doing this show, because we get different aspects, I feel like, sometimes of the people that we bring in. And she's telling me that she was very good at observing. Mm-hmm. She's saying I was good at observing, experiencing, and appreciating. And that's what she kind of tried to put into her writing so that other people could observe it and appreciate it and experience it, even if they couldn't go to these places or meet these people. She's saying, though, that she wishes she had been, as you were talking about her traveling by herself, she's saying, I wish I had been a bit more flexible in my life. There was an inflexibility there, but she's saying it's interesting because as the observer from the outside, I could really understand other people and really accept their culture and their beliefs and all of these things. But personally, I had an inflexibility about me. And she's talking about intimate relationships. Mm-hmm. And she's saying there was an inflexibility there that I wish I could have worked on. And by being traveling alone and being alone, I took myself out of having to worry about that. But she's saying, in hindsight, I wish I'd worked on that a little more, because it would have been nice at certain points to share certain things with someone. But she's also saying that the walking, I was asking her about why so much walking, what's going on with the walking? But she's saying when she would walk, she could do all of these things. She could observe, she could experience, she could appreciate. And she also, it slowed the world down for her. Her mind was very busy and occupied a lot. It was her meditation, basically. Walking was her meditation. Yep. It helped her to get out of her head, be, a part of something that was bigger than herself. And, but it's interesting that with all of these accomplishments that, as a spirit, you get back and think, oh, I probably should have worked on that a little bit more. And that's all she's bringing for. It's just like, if there was one thing I could work on, it probably was being more, working on intimate relationships and maybe breaking down those walls a little bit, because what I ended up doing, it took me out of that, and I kind of left it at arm's length, but she did what she was very, very good at, and to the benefit.
And I think a relationship may have held her back on some of those journeys.
Yeah, exactly.
It was sort of part and parcel of the deal.
Yeah.
But just amazing, and all that walking. It feels like she never wanted to be held down, ever. She wanted to be free. So whether she went on 100-mile walk, how many people go on 100-mile walk? Or traveling all over the place. And interesting, one of the places she documented, I think it's called the Attu Islands. Let me see, ATTU. They went there and she took pictures and got to know the people. Yeah, Attu village. In Anatolian Islands, I think. So she went there. It was very small, and she, documented stuff, took pictures of the people. And a couple of years later, because of the war, everyone there, not her, but the people that lived there were killed, and the ones that weren't killed were taken captive by the country that bombed and destroyed them, which I'm not going to bring up because we don't want to talk about that. But so she documented something, a moment in time that was erased
Oh, wow.
You know, and that's with her sensitivity and learning and wanting to talk to people and get to know them. Like, I just think, thank goodness she was there and able to document it. You never know what you're doing, what it might mean later.
She's definitely a
right. And to experience it firsthand as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I just felt, ever since I read about her when I picked her, I was just, I don't know, maybe it's me needing to be more, go on more journeys or something. I just feel like so inspired by her and just traveling. Think about being a woman on your own in the early 1900s, going on these boats, going on planes, whatever it was, by yourself, and going into areas where it was remote, freezing, you don't know the language, and loving every second of it. I think that's spectacular. I think she's spectacular.
And and having to navigate everything on your own, and during this time too, because the cultures and places she was going to, they were not well known. They were unknown. So and being a woman as well, it's really quite amazing.
She will be coming back, but I don't sense that she has been back yet. Mm-hmm. Did you guys get anything different than that?
The only thing that I got was that she might be a writer when she comes back. I feel like there's something about writing. So I think you're right. I think she will be coming back, but there's something about writing that
came in very strong. I will be back.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and a writer, that makes sense to her.
And again, just that push yourself to the edge of your comfort zone, and then push yourself a little further. She did.
Common message tonight. Yeah.
And on her terms, she did everything on her terms. She didn't. And again, I think, like she said, I wish I worked on my flexibility, but I think in that moment in time, she did things the way she wanted to do them. The way she wanted to experience it, and that's what she did. Good for her.
Yeah.
Holly feels like she might be already back. She could be. I didn't get a sense that she was yet.
And that she, born into privilege it's like with Anita, all that money didn't mean anything. She had other things to do, right? Same with Isobel. Born into all this money, sure, but I got to travel the world. I got to go to remote places and find flowers and herbs and botanicals to preserve, as well as learn about communities and preserve their knowledge too. And I think that's awesome. That's something money can't buy. That was her.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Those experiences. Amazing.
Thank you, Isobel. Oh, hi, Lena.
Aww.
This here.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, I see you. The storm's over.
Oh.
Yeah, we had a storm. She has to go into hiding.
Yes.
She looks at me like, why aren't you going into hiding right now? There's big noises out there. And I think I'm crazy not going into hiding.
Oh, a sweetheart.
Oh, here comes her butt. Oh. Isobel.
And addressing that she wasn't really sure if she was either sex or interested in either sex. That was a bold statement to make back then as well.
Right.
Yes. And it just wasn't, and she wasn't a lesbian. She did her own thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
And I think at a time too, when women, if you didn't want the things that you were supposed to want, you pretended. You pretended you did because that's what you were supposed to do. She didn't do that.
No pretending.
She was just like, no, I can't pretend that I want to get married and want to be a wife. Want to have. It's not who I am. But yeah, so a lot of guts.
Yeah.
Love it. All right.
Love it. Yeah.
Isabel.
Thank you, Isabel. Yeah, she was a free spirit. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny because it certainly wasn't like a warm, cozy, come here, give me a hug. You know what I mean? Feel from her, you know. She's very just, you know, boop, boop, boop.
All right. So
I'm sitting here waiting for you to do it. I thought
you're driving. You're driving.
I literally am like still kind of in that in between, and I'm just sitting there. And in my mind, we were on Andrea's channel. And, all right, so here we go. Woo. Okay. Little intermission there. All right.
A little Debbie Freebird spirit in a minute.
If there's a little intermission. All right. So we are to you, Kim.
Okay. Well, I picked Anna Marie Duke, who was Patty Duke. She was an actress and a mental health advocate over the course of her life. Look at her, isn't she cute? She was young. So Anna Marie Duke was her name. Her nickname was Patty, or her stage name was Patty. She was born December 14th, 1946, and she passed away in March 29th, 2016. And it's so funny because you were talking about our first lady as being 5'2". She was 5 feet tall. She's just tiny.
A little tiny person.
She had 4 husbands, 3 kids, 3 grandkids. Very interesting life that we will talk about. So she was, like I said, American actress, mental health advocate, and over the course of her acting career, she was the recipient of an Academy Award, 2 Golden Globes, 3 Primetime Emmy Awards, and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She had a very weird childhood. So she was raised in Queens, with her brother Raymond and her sister Carol, and she experienced a very difficult childhood. Her father was an alcoholic, and her mother suffered from clinical depression and was prone to violence. So when she was 6 years old, her mother forced her father to leave the family home. And then when she was 8 years old, her care was turned over to her talent managers, John and Ethel Ross.
Wow.
Who, after promoting Patty's brother, were looking for a girl to add to their list of child actors. The Ross's methods of managing Duke's career were often unscrupulous. They were exploitative. They consistently billed her as being 2 years younger than she actually was. They padded her resume with false credits. They gave her alcohol and prescription drugs, took unreasonably high fees for their earnings, and made sexual advances towards her. She never saw her father and only saw her mother when her mother would come and do the Ross's laundry. Can you believe this? It's like, what? They told her when she was a little girl, the Rosses told her, Anna Marie is dead. And they said, you're Patty now. So that's how she got her stage name, Patty Duke. They told her, Anna Marie is dead and you are Patty now. And they were hoping she would be a very successful commodity for them. At age 15, she portrayed Helen Keller in The Miracle Worker. I love that movie. It was, I mean, what a performance. Amazing. A role she'd originated on Broadway, and she won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for her performance. The following year, she played the dual role of identical cousins, Kathy and Patty Lane, on her own show, The Patty Duke Show, from 1963 to 1966. And then she progressed to more mature roles such as Neely O'Hara in Valley of the Dolls, and Natalie Miller in Me, Natalie. The latter earned her a Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Motion Picture or Comedy. Duke returned to television in 1970, starring in a made-for-TV movie, My Sweet Charlie, and she portrayed a pregnant teen on the run, and it won her first Emmy Award. I mean, she's just amazing. Everything she did was just absolutely amazing. Her acceptance speech was a rambling and was disjointed, leading many in the industry to believe that she was drunk or using drugs at the time. But in fact, she was experiencing a manic phase of her bipolar disorder, which remained undiagnosed until 1982.
Wow.
And I remember seeing a interview with her saying that she just hates the footage of that, because she said she was in having such a psychotic episode that she didn't know what reality was, basically. So it was as if she was on drugs, but she was just in a kind of a manic episode of her disease. Following her diagnosis, she devoted much of her time to advocating for and educating the public on mental health. She was also an occasional singer and an author. She wrote 3 books, two of which were one was her autobiography, Call Me Anna. And then in 1987, she wrote Brilliant Madness, Living with Manic Depressive Illness. And then she passed away from a ruptured colon, or not, something like that. Something happened with her digestive system, and there was a rupture. She died from that and from sepsis.
Painful.
Yeah, so kind of and kind of unexpected. I think it was just kind of a thing that happened. But she was one of the first people, and maybe people in the chat will remember this too. She and Carrie Fisher are the two of the first people I can remember who came out publicly and talked about mental illness, and also talked about it as being something that you could live with, something that you could get better. You could get medication, you could get, help, and you could get better. Both of them, I think, worked really hard at trying to kind of demystify it a little bit, not make it such a taboo, and let people know there was help. I think it was so amazing of her to do that, and to step out of her role as Hollywood star or TV star, and to talk about this as an advocate.
Extremely brave of her to do that.
Yes, and her son is Sean Astin, who is hilarious on Twitter. So if you don't follow him, very liberal. But yeah, so amazing woman, amazing career, weird childhood, I thought.
Yeah, really weird.
But also kind of in that time where you were still kind of property of the studio, and it sounds like that's what happened to her. And it's amazing she didn't become a drug addict or an alcoholic, especially with her family history, but also being plied with alcohol and drugs as a kid. It's amazing that she survived and got through it and advocated for other people. But I really felt like one reason that she kind of came in was because there is so much mental illness in the United States right now. I don't know if you've noticed, but there is. And I felt like one of the reasons she kind of came in the way that she did was because I also felt like we just got a national helpline, a suicide helpline in the States. And I felt like that was something else that she was very happy to hear, that she was just very, very happy about that, and wanted to say how many people that was going to help. But we had, I feel like she's very concerned about the amount of mental health we have in this country, and how we are not really addressing it in a national way. We're kind of thinking, we have a tendency to think, well, now that this is over, everything will just go back to normal. Now that COVID's, kind of calmed down, we know what it is. We have, we have medicine for it, and we have, shots, and, we can deal with it. Everything will go back to normal. And it's kind of like, no, people have been traumatized by our last president. We've been traumatized by COVID, traumatized even by the position now women are in with Roe v. Wade. It's a lot. It's a lot that people have had to deal with. And not everybody deals with things in the same way, or has spiritual grounding, or things that that we know about, we can use, but there are a lot of people that just don't, and they're drifting out there. And it's manifesting in weird ways in the United States. People yelling in public, and having meltdowns in public, and having road rage, and all of these things. And so I felt like that was one reason, or a couple of reasons, why she kind of came in and tapped me on the shoulder. But very happy about the national hotline, and she feels like it's going to save a lot of people.
Excellent.
Yeah, national hotline 988.
We're all suffering from PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD, absolutely.
Well, and like Melissa just said, there you hear all these shootings, and the war in Ukraine, and this and that, and then where do people go to talk about this to get help? There's a lot of parents with children, and the parents aren't equipped to be therapists. Maybe the parent needs a therapist, right? So it's multi-generational. It's not just one group that needs help. It's just across the board. And I think it's more than the States. I think it's everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. It's we're in full meltdown, people. It does feel like that, though. It feels like there are so many things.
But I think mental health nowadays is so much more. You can talk about it more in public. People are talking about it. That is a tremendous step. I mean, how many years ago, pick it. If you said anything, people are like, I don't want to hear about that. Are you crazy or something? No. The whole dialogue has changed, and it's an understanding that the brain and thoughts and emotions can be just as sensitive as our bones and our skin and our tissue, right? And people need help with it. If you have a broken ankle, you get a cast. If you're going through depression, you should get to see a specialist to help you.
Yeah, no reason to go alone. Don't do it alone, she says.
And it's not a stigma. And, how can it be when we see so many people struggling?
Right.
It's not a one person or one generation or one culture thing. It's everyone has a tipping point.
Exactly.
And I think it was very brave of her to come out and talk about that, because she took a chance to do that.
Mm-hmm. And when you think 1982, it really was, bipolar was not, you just didn't hear about it, and you didn't understand it, and to come out and be so frank about it and open about it. I mean, it could have just ended her career completely. It could have just stopped everything. But yeah.
Could have had her ostracized or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm sure there were
exactly.
some people that did, but a lot of people embraced her.
Exactly.
And her bringing her story forward really helped other people, I believe, because her talking about a lot of people didn't understand childhood trauma and how it can affect you
Yes.
in your adult life. So she certainly brought forward that perspective.
And
Yes.
she wrote a book, right? Because she's saying writing it helped her. Writing her story helped her.
Mm-hmm.
It did a lot of healing and letting go. I think, just getting her story out was very healing for her. Because she showed me writing, and she encourages that, even if you're not going to write a book. But it's like when you store that stuff in your body, that's when stuff starts happening in your body.
That's right.
So
write it out.
Write it out. Even if you're not going to write a book, just write stuff out. Write your emotion. Write your feelings. Write it out. Write your story. Tell your story. She's smiling because I have this, but she's saying your story is important.
And again, when we all feel like, what can I do to change the world? Look at these 3 women we're talking about tonight. Little Patty Duke, 5'0" and and each one of them did something spectacular to help the world. So that's also a thread tonight, that one little lady can make a huge difference.
And as one of you said, pushing out of your comfort zone as well. Yeah. It was not comfortable for her to come out and say, this is what's wrong with me. No. This is what I'm dealing with, and this is what it is, and this is what I have to do, and I've got to get better. To be that vulnerable and speak that kind of truth is...
She's a hero again, another hero.
Pushing out of that comfort zone and doing something for others, thinking of other people, thinking I've got a platform, I can help other people that are dealing with this in silence.
Because a lot of people don't even tell their friends or family or whatever, and she stood up there and told the world.
Yeah. She said, we don't need to keep this stuff secret. This is not a secret.
And I bet she helped millions with doing that.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I'm not special. My story is your story. My story is your story. I am you. And and I feel like in her doing that, she's empowering us in some way. I am you. My story is you. We're linked in. We are united. She's showing me to keep talking.
Yeah.
Don't let things be hidden anymore, because that's where things go awry.
It's normalizing mental health.
Normalize it
as a
topic about it.
Passion. Realize everyone has mental health, the health of your mental state. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's, you're tired and you're a little nutty, a little goofy, or sometimes you're really stressed, or sometimes you're really this or really that, and then really need some help with therapy. Everyone can have an off day where it's just part of your rhythm, but having mental health as a discussion that dial has moved so far since she did that. She broke through that discussion.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Exactly, Tony. It's not discriminatory. It could be any culture, of any age, of any social standing or income. Mental illness can be there.
She understood what it meant for her to speak up.
And yeah, if you know someone, send them the hotline number or reach out. I don't know. See if they need help. Some people don't want to talk about it, but you can see it on their face. And, sometimes just asking them, hey, are you okay?
She has an amazing presence. Very kind.
Mm-hmm.
I like her.
I do too. She feels like your best girlfriend. She just feels like, she really does have that a very there's a comfortability about her. Yeah. She just oozes warmth.
Very compassionate.
Mm-hmm. She loves her family. She knows they miss her. She's really like she is sending love to her family. So just so you know, she's sending love to her family. She knows how much they miss her.
Mm.
She's around them an awful lot.
Full-time job, she says.
Yeah.
Full-time job around them.
And I think of her as a little girl and the strength that she needed to get through that bizarre set of circumstances. So very strong and resilient.
And she's saying she has made peace with her mother and father on the other side. It's just what, I think because we're like, that was, I'm like, that was so weird and what was going on? But she's saying, I've made peace. We've gone round and round about the situation that we had. And we understand our circumstances. We all have a very different perspective now and completely understand what
roles
what led to what. Yeah, the chain of events that happened to make this happen. So we've come to really love and appreciate each other. And she's just saying it was the parts we were playing.
Yeah, the roles
we were playing.
Yeah, I heard her say.
I'm an actress.
We came to understand our roles and what we were challenging each other with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Did she have a brother?
Yeah, she had a brother and a sister.
She's highlighting her brother. I'm not sure why. Interesting.
Yeah. An amazing lady. But yeah, her spirit is very strong and very, very, again, very warm, very warm.
But I feel very sturdy. Like she's very grounded. There's
no bipolar feel to her.
No, that's what I'm she's very grounded and sturdy and there.
Yeah. Yeah. What amazing.
And no, we've had people come in. I'm thinking of like when we had Frances Farmer come in or Sylvia Plath, and there was this kind of residue of either a little bit of anger or a little bit or sadness, and there's none of that with her. She's completely past it all. I think she worked through a lot of it here, but I think she's also continued to work on it there. And she is very, like you said, Andrea, very, very grounded and very, has really worked through everything.
Yeah. So. The key there, she says, is she worked on a lot of it while she was here on the plane.
Yeah, I'm sure that makes a difference.
Encouraging everyone. Work on it here before you get over there.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of the millions of people she helped by coming out. I just think it's incredible.
Yeah, she understands what
I hear, like the sighs, like someone's talking about it, right? I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my God, she's talking about how I feel. Like all these people who would resonate with whatever she was saying about her own mental health journey. Just amazing. I can hear like just the relief. Or parents who maybe had a child that was similar, like, oh, I see.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well,
Amazing.
thank you, Patty Duke. And here's the national hotline again, if you just want to jot it down or memorize it. If you're dyslexic like me, I thought it was 899. So 988.
I think that's great that they established that. So that's a 24 hours, that 24-hour across the states.
24 hours.
Wonderful.
724. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yes, such a great thing because, like I said, but it's, you know, I think that, like I said, I think that's one reason she kind of tapped on my shoulder because we've got a real issue in the United States. And like you said, Andrea, the world over, it's we've been through a lot as a world, and it's okay to need help after all of the stuff that we've had to, that we're still witnessing, right? We're still going through it. And like someone said, PTSD, we all have PTSD. It is like that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awareness. Talk. And anyways,
take a class. In fact, take a class tomorrow.
That's right.
We're teaching a class tomorrow.
Really? What are you guys teaching?
Well, now that you ask Andrea, we'll tell you. Yeah, we're teaching our medium class, and we have a couple spots, a spot or two in our master class.
We actually we had two that had to. We had one opening, and then we had two that dropped out today. So we have 3 openings for our master class. So if anybody's interested, we do have those opened up, and so there's 2 different sections. So there's the earlier section tomorrow and then there's one open in that, and then in the later section there's 2. So, and then if you want the leveling, the mediumship leveling up class, that is open as well. And
nice.
fun.
And how do people sign up for your class?
I put the link on my community page, and probably I bet Debbie could put it in the.
Yeah, I'll put it back on there too, but you can check as well, and I'll put this on there.
Well, you heard it here, folks. 3 lucky one of you. 3 of you will be lucky enough to sign up to get it.
I know, you're like I was waiting, and if something opened, I was going to pop in there.
That's right.
But it's you can just go to freebirdspirit.com and click the link there and sign up through there as well. So freebirdspirit.com. Oh, it's right there. I was here looking on. It's already on the screen.
Tony wants to know, do you need a computer to do the class?
It's best if you have a computer, Tony, so you can see everybody in the class. If I don't know if you use, I don't know, Kim, if you remember, if you use like using your phone won't work. But I don't know on an iPad. I'm not sure.
Oh, do you use StreamYard or Zoom?
iPad is fine.
Zoom.
She's saying she can't reach the community page on her iPad. So just maybe Debbie could put it in the description of this video, and then anybody can just put it in and just go to that, and you should be able to find it. Yes. So there you go. Thanks everybody for coming in. It's nice to see everybody. It's so nice to be back.
And next week, so Monday, we will be on Kim's channel.
Yep.
On Kim's, and I can't get over it. I literally, Andrea,
I didn't think you realized you were on your channel.
No. I'm glad you tapped into that, because I literally thought you were on your channel.
I don't know.
She's like playing with their cat and being ignoring us and woohoo.
I'm waiting for Andrea to change us over.
Andrea, what are you doing?
No.
How embarrassing.
I am back in this plane now, though. I'm here. Gosh, that was crazy.
Awesome.
Anyway, so blessings to you all. I guess takeaway, let's get out of our comfort zone, and that's how we make real change, and empower yourself to do so, and love yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Blessing everyone. And we'll see you next week on Kim's channel. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.